You want to save money on PC parts, so you decide to hit up eBay and try and catch yourself a quick grab. Maybe you're searching for a 4790K or an Nvidia GTX 970 because both of them are a few hundreds in any currency and saving every penny really does count. But what if I told you that there are some PC components that you should absolutely never in the history of PC gaming ever purchase second hand? There's not just one or two, there's a list, and I've compiled that for you today. And just before getting into the list, I'd like to say that going into this is assuming that you know how to safely shop online, that you know how to spot a shady dealer, and you know when not to enter your credit card details to a suspicious website. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get into this list with what you shouldn't buy used. First on the list with number 1, we have a power supply. I mentioned this in one of my recent videos that you should never, in the name of all things holy, ever cheap out on a power supply. But it also goes in the sense that you should never ever buy them used either. The seller that's selling it used probably has a reason for selling it. Maybe it's noisy, maybe it gave out and quit a couple of times and they're not mentioning it. Whatever it is, stay on the safe side and just don't buy it. If you decide to not listen and buy it, then one day will come when the power supply just craps out on you, not only on its own, but it can take down another component in your system. That's something we PC gamers should never ever risk. Number 2 on the list is a hard disk drive. This one comes as a no-brainer. Do you really want someone else's old hard drive? You will never know what that hard drive was filled with. It's just plain disgusting just thinking about it. Also, a fresh new hard drive will always perform miles better than buying one used, especially if the used hard drive was used as a boot drive. Next on the list is an SSD. This one goes the same as a hard disk drive except for the bit about performance. The SSD's performance will most likely stay intact, but their reliability starts to deteriorate. It's known that SSDs last a heck of a long time, but what's not so commonly known is that SSDs have a certain number of reads and writes that they can do in their life cycle. This maximum reads and writes can be well in the terabyte region, and my Samsung 850 EVO being a maximum of 4 terabytes reads and writes, for example. So knowing this, you would not know how much your SSD was used. So that could make it more than likely to give out a whole lot quicker than you expect, and that's all your data down the drain. Number 4 on the list is a CPU cooler. This one would be quite unusual if you got second hand, and if you do, be prepared to face a lot of hassle. Lastly on our list, number 5, I've got RAM. Well, why RAM exactly anyways? Why shouldn't I ever buy a second hand kit of RAM? Well, because RAM is so cheap, it's easy for any old bloke online to just sell his RAM and say that he just doesn't want it anymore or he's upgrading. Well, you never know the true story behind that RAM. Maybe it's defective, maybe it just doesn't work, and when you buy it, it won't be plug and play. It will more likely be plug and your computer just doesn't boot. Fresh new RAM kits are so cheap nowadays that it's unreasonable to risk buying them second hand when you could just pay a little bit more extra and at least guarantee yourself that you're buying something that works and isn't dead on arrival. And also when you buy it off places like Amazon, at least you have a return option which is quite seamless. Now that's the end of my list of PC parts that you should never buy used. I'm being serious, unless you absolutely know that the deal you're looking at isn't shady as fudge. Just stay on the safe side and stay away from it. You could get scammed, ripped off, and now that you've already paid for something you are completely unhappy with, returning it is another headache in itself. I really hope that you guys listen to my advice, because the last thing I want is for people to get scammed and just make scammers' lives so much easier. I hope you take something away from this video. Leave a like to support my small tiny little channel here, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.